Share the UCF group. They're excited
Welcome
to
to
ask
the
questions.
Cheers Podcast. My name is Craig, along with me, Austin, Chris, and our special guest, the man of the hour, Sir Alec. Is it Golesh? Is that how you say it, or Golish?
Golish.
Golish. The co-offensive coordinator for the UCF Knights. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure.
Austin has been, fanboying all day. We're going to talk about this. We've all been the same way. I mean, we kind of, in the pre-show, we kind of did it, but, talk about a difference in climate for you.
Yeah,
Snow
it's
and ice.
probably the biggest change.
Yeah. Man, sunny Florida. I mean, you came here. I mean, it's just so far, yourself, like for your family, what's the biggest challenges you guys have faced so far in doing this switch from being up north to down here in
Orlando. The family's not here yet, so it's just been me and ironing things out and hashing through really the football side and hopefully get them down around spring break. So it's really been just me, and I've been, for the most part, in an office, and at workouts and those things. So I've not really gotten to enjoy the outside. I'll get to enjoy that after we get done with recruiting and spring ball, and probably go through a cycle. Will be the first time I'll enjoy the weather.
Yeah, there's plenty to do down here, especially that time. Speaking of recruiting, that was one of the things. Like I said, we really, during my research, getting ready for this, man, you guys really recruited the hell out of at Iowa State. 39th in the nation. That was amazing for that for that program. That was they rated, I think it was 24/7. Rated it as the best class that Iowa State ever had. So so at UCF, this has got to be exciting for everybody. We're bringing some top-notch recruiting coming down here to help with the program.
Yeah, I think recruiting is really just a matter of what you're willing to put in into it. I think it's relationship building, and obviously this staff has done a really good job. Has done a really good job already with bringing in top level guys, and has for the last handful of years. So I think for me, it's just figuring out the lay of the land. And a lot of people ask me, how do you go from recruiting in the Midwest and to recruiting down here? I think anybody that's coached college football is recruited in Florida. I think that's one thing that at some point, you end up in Florida because of the talent and the coaching. And so I've been down in Florida quite a bit. But I think the area, people put a lot of stock into he's a this recruiter or that recruiter. I think recruiting is recruiting. It's building relationships and being genuine about it, and obviously selling what you have. And boy, is there a lot to sell at this place, in terms of winning and facilities and beyond all that, the people. And to be honest with you, I think it's a little bit easier when you get to a place. Why did you choose to come to a place? Honestly, you tell guys why I chose to come here, and obviously I'm lucky to have the opportunity, but I think if I just tell my story, it'll be easy enough.
Yeah.
That was.
I know.
Go, Josh.
Craig, Craig's like recruiting and stuff. We're excited. As soon as we found out you're coming down, tight end coach, we have Jordan Davis coming on. We're really excited to have him. We still have Jacob Harris coming on too, big 6'5" guy. I'm wondering, we really only have Florida, Georgia boys. Can you bring some Iowa boys, some big boys down for us too? We need some big boys in the front line. I'm hoping you can bring some down.
Coach Ellerby's done a pretty good job recruiting those guys down here. I don't know if we're going to be poaching in Iowa.
I understand. But one of those things.
But my background's been pretty much my whole career. I've recruited junior colleges, and that's kind of been my niche if I've had one. I think I can certainly help there. And then honestly trying to learn a new area here with recruiting in Orlando and over to the Space Coast and learning that, and I'm excited to dig deep into it here in the next 2 weeks. beyond finishing this class, we got some needs we got to finish. But I don't know if we'll necessarily be poaching Iowa kids, but if there's one over there that wants to come down south that can play, we'll definitely recruit him.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need some big boys.
Yeah, Clay just posted. He goes, "We definitely need some beef on the line.
We got speed. We're UCF fast, but that's the thing is we don't have the big boys. And hopefully we get some recruiting down here."
Now you just kind of tipped it to that one, and it was one of the questions I had for you for later on. But right now, I mean, it's hard to ask. I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't want to say, just say next. But what would you feel like right now? Offense, defense, special teams. What do you guys think is your biggest need right now that we've got to get addressed?
Yeah, I would probably say next on that. I think you want to hold those cards close to the vest. I think the biggest thing for me when I got here, it's been about a week and a half now, is figure out, sit down with Coach Heupel and the staff and figure out where we are. And I think the way the periods have gotten where there's an early signing date, it kind of puts a bolt on, man, those guys are locked up. You can kind of fast forward a little bit and really, address needs as they come. With having some numbers left to where you can work with, and I think you always want to leave a couple to work with as you go. I think we've got some needs. We've already addressed a couple. We've got a couple we got to finish up on. And without major changes on the staff in terms of like a mass overhaul, I think just finishing up here on a couple and I think when you have new guys come in, you've got a little bit different perspective sometimes. And you've got some, obviously I was recruiting the last 4 years. So in terms of it at Iowa State, I've got some ties in terms of some needs that can help us this year that we can go address. But I'd rather probably not be super specific on those and hold those a little bit closer to the vest.
That's why I want to throw that out there. It's like, don't say if you can't. I don't want to jeopardize anything. We're not TMZ. We're not trying to get the exclusive here. Breaking news. ESPN's calling us as soon as we log off here. So kind of on the recruiting thing, it's one question I've always had, and it's kind of cool having you, especially with your extensive recruiting background. Coming from the West Coast, we always saw the powerhouse that was USC. How does a team as a recruiter, how do you convince a guy to sit on third string? That's like a 4-star, 5-star running back or wide receiver. How do you convince him to come to your school and sit there and just say, just wait your turn, you're going to be there? I mean, because they want to be on the field.
Yeah, I think the parity in college football has grown so much in terms of across the board because of that. I think with the way social media has gotten, with the way access to recruiting has become so readily available, and I'm talking access to film, I think more guys are one, being found, where it used to be you can kind of hide a kid somewhere, where now I think more guys are being found. To answer your question directly, I think honestly you're trying to find guys that are high-end players, but more than that, I think are guys that are willing to develop, and I think that's where this transfer portal has really become a test of people's culture. Are you willing to sit and develop and grow knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel? I think in this day and age where young people 18 to 22, it's such an instant gratification world, I think you try to find young people that can get through, like you said, at a place like SC where they're, a football factory where they're just stacking class upon class of elite players. I think, how does the UCF go beat Auburn? You saw what UCF did a year ago against the national champion. Well, because at times, if as long as your starters are at that same caliber and your culture is strong, when you're playing a team like that, where guys are, football factories, which is fine as long as guys aren't leaving early for the draft and guys aren't leaving because they're not getting to play. It's really hard to develop depth when you stack blue chipper after blue chipper, because those guys generally are in and out the door. And I think it's a true test of culture is where can you build to where can you take the right kind of kids that are willing to wait their turn, and when I say wait their turn, genuinely develop until they're ready to play. Because as in most things, if you're ready to play, you're going to play, and so I think that's an interesting question. I think it's an interesting dynamic why the parity in college football is what it is today, because I think a lot of it has to do with guys aren't necessarily going for the brand, and guys are more going to where they have an opportunity to develop and play.
Do you think the transfer portals help that?
I think it depends who you ask. I think the transfer portal is a great idea because it honestly, in a lot of ways, exposes cultures. If kids aren't happy, they genuinely leave. That didn't used to happen 10 years ago. And so I think it's a good thing. I think if a young man isn't happy and genuinely needs another opportunity, that's great. But I also think it's a true test of programs where can you hang on to your guys? And because if guys are happy, they're not leaving generally. And I think I saw a crazy stat. Class of 2015 quarterbacks. I saw this a few months ago. I believe it was a CBS Sportsline article. Out of the top 25 quarterbacks, 18 of them had transferred out of the class of 2015, which is a mind-numbing stat. And so it depends how you look at the transfer portal, but I think it really is fascinating. It's become a free agency market, and right or wrong, I think the right cultures in college football are able to hang on to their players. But you look at the Final Four this year, 3 out of the 4 quarterbacks were transfers, which is a fascinating stat as well.
Joe Burrow, the product that UCF created.
Yeah. Do you focus your attention down south any? You may say pass, but there's a lot of speed down south. They might not have the academics, but there's a lot of speed down south. Do you I'm talking like Miami, Fort Pierce, Palm Beach? There's a lot of fast talent down there. Do you see any recruits coming from down south? Normally they don't come local. They go up north and other directions.
And I think looking at our roster, that certainly has been a big focus. Coach Shannon and really Coach Martinez, those guys have focused a lot of their efforts down south, and I think it's a little bit easier when you're from down there, because that is a different culture down there in terms of, it certainly is easier if you're from there to go recruit those areas. Because those high school coaches, for the most part down there, are from there and like seeing guys that are from that neck of the woods. But I think so. That's one probably place I've not spent as much time. I've recruited in Fort Lauderdale a bunch, a little bit in Dade. Most of my recruiting in Florida has been over in the Tampa and the western part of the state down to Fort Myers.
Okay. We had a buddy on the show about a couple weeks ago, Andre Hall. He played for USF. He broke a lot of records for USF. So there's a bunch of good talent in Tampa.
I don't know if you can.
A ton of good talent, really, honestly, in this entire state. I think it's a credit to the coaching, and I think it's a credit to most of these kids being 2 and 3 sport athletes and still running track. And I think it's old school in that way. Where down here, guys are running track and playing basketball, which I think is absolutely huge at the next level.
I don't know if you can answer it. I'll say next. What made you come down here? Obviously, Heupel gave you an offer. Huh?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You hear me? What made what made the decision? Heupel offered you the position, but what made you ultimately come down instead of staying up there?
Nothing's coming out.
Yeah, Chris, we can hear him just fine. Yeah. So now, Alex, did you hear that question?
I did not.
Okay. Let's see. I can hear it. So he was like, "What made you?" Say next. Obviously, any of these questions come up. It's just what made you come up with and make that decision to come down to UCF?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason was Coach Heupel, and honestly giving me the opportunity to come and help on the offensive side of the ball and kind of take a next step for myself in my career in terms of being able to help coordinate and but honestly, more than anything, it's been his offense and wanting to learn. I think obviously the success that's happened here really over long span, you could probably say the last 13 to 15 years was enticing. But more than anything, I think it's Coach Heupel and this offensive system, and really what he's been able to kind of put his stamp on his version of this program. But more than anything, it was honestly the conversations we had, and we probably had 10 to 15 conversations over a couple week period. And I was sold on him more than anything beyond the program or anything else. And obviously, it helped that the program's having in paramount success, and wanting to be a part of that as well.
Probably helps being down here for Camping World. I mean, you guys were able to have a face-to-face meeting, just because you're already down here. Like I said, but that's one of those next things. You don't have to get. That's the rumor, is that happened during the Camping World thing. But like I said, that's one of those next.
Yeah, well, I can tell you the honest truth on that's not the case. The program I just came from and the head coach I worked for is a really, really dear friend of mine. I can honestly tell you that we did not meet until after the bowl game, and ironically, the bowl game was in Orlando, but I kind of come from a little bit of an old school deal, and I know this profession is crazy right now with guys going all over the place. I had a commitment to coach at Iowa State and through that bowl game. And I can honestly tell you, you can ask my wife if I lacked any effort in those 2 weeks of preparation for that game. We worked our tails off on that. I can tell you, I think about it a little bit, but I never once swayed my focus off of it. I don't know how people can do that. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to be able to focus on two things at once. But all my focus.
I commend you on
that. Focus was on that game, and maybe it didn't show a whole lot, us scoring 9 points, but but I can tell you it wasn't a lack of effort on our part.
It happens.
No, like I said, I commend you on that, because it's one of the frustrating things, especially as a fan. It's like, you got us to this point and then you bail. It's like, finish out coach the bowl, finish it out. Take those seniors, clap them on the back, say, proud of you guys. Good luck on the next level, and then go to the next job.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of the things that we accomplished there in 4 years. The last 3 years at Iowa State was the best, tied for the best 3-year run in the history of the program. We had taken over a program that was about as bad as there was in college football, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And we had turned, back-to-back years, finishing third in the Big 12. Set records the last 2 years on offense with what we did, and had two guys drafted a year ago, which hadn't happened at Iowa State in 20 some years. Hadn't played in 3 bowl games in a row in ever. So took it to new heights, and I can honestly say we poured our heart and soul into that program for 3 years and left it in a much better place than when I got there 4 years ago. And those guys still have a lot of things that they'll accomplish, and Coach Campbell and that crew has a ton of goals left to accomplish. But I can honestly tell you, I finished it off the very best way I could, and really sat down that Sunday after the bowl game and made a really, really educated decision for our family. I think from a fan perspective, and I was talking to my wife about this the other day, everybody looks at it like, hey, Coach so-and-so is going here, Coach so-and-so is going here. We were just talking about Coach Rolovich. Guys, everybody forgets that when somebody leaves or somebody gets let go, or there's generally, when it's a whole staff, there's 15 to 20 families that uproot and move. And wow, for me, luckily for me, I've got an incredible wife, and she was super supportive with this. But in this profession, very rarely do you leave when you don't have to. And I think, we had talked about, what do you sell to recruits? That's my story. I didn't have to leave. I was in an incredible situation in a really, really good place, working with incredible people. And I felt like I chose a very similar program, geographically, certainly not, but a very similar program in terms of not the success on the field, but in terms of the people that are here. And to be honest with you, it was a really, really tough and emotional decision. Obviously, a week and a half in, I'm really, really glad I made it. But I think from an outside perspective, we sometimes talk about coaches like they're free agents in a market, you know, and man, like I can tell you, in a week and a half, there've been a lot of FaceTime conversations with my little ones, and there's nothing easy about that part of it. And I'm not trying to paint a sob story of it, but it's just reality.
Well, that was one of my questions. It's just, it's just like the difficulties, and it's, especially with the family, because, it's a huge change at the same time, and it's just, you can't just one day just like, all right, throw everything in a box, let's go, and just drive on down. I mean, there's so many steps. You've gone down, you've established forward base, and now, family, get them over to where you need to be with you.
Exactly. And like you said, sell a house, buy a house, switch schools.
Yep.
There's as my daughter gets older, she's pointing out that ain't that easy. So you want to try to set roots somewhere, and like I said, I'm a little bit old school with that, and I think Coach Heupel has been as well throughout his career, where it's not been moves to move, it's been moves to get to a situation like this where you take over a program and you try to put your stamp on it, and you try to reach new heights. And I'm so excited to be a part of that.
You sound like you got a stamp of loyalty. Not too many coaches or too many coordinators seem like they have that anymore. It seems like, you made an educated decision, not chasing a dollar, chasing a dream as far as a different team and a different demographic. Seems like not a lot of people have that anymore. You talk with great passion about, anywhere you go, you're going to try to leave a trademark. So we're, extremely glad to have you at UCF.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And I think, like I said, I think that's what's been lost in this profession. But I started out as a high school coach, and it's never been about money or titles or any of that for me. It's genuinely been about trying to change young people's lives. And, we're so lucky to be able to work with young people, 18 to 22 years old, probably the most influential time in young people's lives to determine their future. And you're coaching football, I think you get to touch every aspect of their lives. And that's what I see my role as is trying to build young people and make them better husbands, better fathers. And obviously there's a level of expectations in terms of winning football games. And I'm not numb to that. But there's only so much you can control with that, as far as if you can just recruit young people that have a passion for the game of football and then attack their hearts more than you attack anything else. I think the end result is generally going to be positive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it showed. I mean, just especially like you said, in the success Iowa State had. I mean, short of that Baylor loss, you guys owned the state of Texas.
Yeah.
You guys went down there, and you just like, I don't care that we're in your territory.
Yeah, there was some awesome wins, and like I said, I think we left them out there, and that's all part of building a program, and I think that's what was so unique there is you had a chance to build it from the ground up, and that was honestly the third time I've come in on the front end of a coaching change in my career, and being able to build it and like I said, the inner workings completely from where do we eat and where do we train and how do we train, and you truly get a chance to build it. This has been a little bit refreshing, to be honest with you, to come into a situation where it's already established, and you try to kind of fit in and then put your own stamp on it as you go as well. So I'm learning as I'm going too, and learning the traditions and the cultures. I had a young man on the phone ask me the other day if we had a major that he was looking for, and I just kind of laughed. I said, let me check on that, and I'll get back to you on that, brother, because I got no idea. I'm sure we do, but I'd be making it up if I told you anything about it.
Which is funny, because we were talking about, the kids aren't – it seems like the kids aren't chasing the big schools anymore, like Bama and stuff like that. They're chasing more – if they don't make it to the NFL, they want to fall back on something, It's what it seems like. They're chasing the school more than they're chasing the sport sometimes.
I think
it seems like that.
Every situation's different. Every young person's different. Everybody's got different reasons. And that's what I guess I was hitting on with the parity in our game right now. I think young people, I think more so than chasing a school, I think young people are chasing a relationship, because there's a relationship there that they want, whether it was a high school coach that was influential for them, whether it was a home parenting situation that they're possibly chasing. Like you said, at times a major at a school. I think more than anything, they want to try to replicate what they're comfortable with, and so that's our job as in the recruiting side of things, is figuring out what that is and seeing if you can possibly reach that goal for them of attaining whatever they're looking for. Like I said, a lot of the time it was an impactful high school football coach, and that's the relationship that they're looking for. Or nowadays, a 7-on-7 coach, or a trainer, or a basketball coach or a track coach. I think a lot of time young people are just looking for somebody to believe in them. And if it's genuine and you're genuine about it, I think the brand maybe doesn't matter quite as much. Although I'd be lying to you if every young man I haven't talked to, we've talked about this program losing 4 games in the last 3 years. That's pretty unprecedented. There's I want to say 3 programs better in the entire country over the last 3 years. Kids want to win. Kids want to play. Kids want to be around winners. I think that's easy. But I think the other things that go with it are certainly really, really impactful in young people's lives.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, no. I'm not sure how much longer we can keep you on. I said it was 9 o'clock, so how much longer do you have?
I'm here for you guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I'll throw in a question then, too. You can probably say no if you want to. We talk about it a lot, with Gabriel Davis leaving, didn't play the bowl game. A lot of guys don't play the bowl game because they want to go to the draft. What's your take on that? Do you think it's wrong that they played all year and like, hey, I'm going to sit back? I don't have a problem with it because they get injured, they're done, Like, what was it, Nick Bosa last year? He didn't even play his senior year. And I didn't have a problem with that because, get ready for the draft. You know what I'm saying? So what is your take on that?
Yeah, I think every situation is different, to be honest with you. I think in this country you have a right to make a living. And I'd hate to speak for somebody I don't know. I think it's really, and I'm not trying to toe a political line. I'm really not. I think every situation is different. Because for a young man like Gabriel, if he was to go get hurt in the bowl game, then everybody would feel terrible about it. So I think they're obviously young people, but they're they have a right to go make a living and chase their goals and dreams, just like coaches do. You guys had mentioned coaches leave before bowl games. Like you could probably guess my perspective on it, where I had coached through a bowl game. So I think you always finish what you start. I think you always try to, if it's your last game in a uniform, man, oh man, I'd hate to not be able to determine my own last game. But I think every situation is different. Every bowl game is different. So I think everything has to get weighed. I think if you did it the right way in terms of the relationship as a coach that you had with the player, I think most of the time those guys will take your advice and your opinion on it. But to tell somebody that they when and where they can decide to make a living, I think that's unfair as well, because I don't think any of us would ever like to be told that either. Yeah. So I'd say on a case-by-case basis, you can evaluate it. And from a fan perspective, I can understand the frustration. From a coach perspective, I can understand the frustration. But I think, like I said, if you look at it from the young man's perspective, you could see why he made that decision. And I think it's our job to support those guys. It's UCF did just fine without him in the bowl game and gave some other young guys an opportunity to show up. And if you've coached and recruited the right way, there should be a young guy right behind him ready to take his place.
Yeah, I mean, on UCF One Heartbeat page, we were upset at first, but then we sat back and realized he did an amazing job for us the past 3 years, and we're glad he's doing what he's doing. So I just, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Any question, Craig?
Yeah, it's one of those little insights. So, who's going to be the first one to go in the lazy river when it's built?
Yeah.
Well, Coach Heupel, is it going to be you, or are you just going to shove them out of the way? I'm in there first. Dive in.
To me, it should be whoever has just suffered the worst 10 winners combined of anybody down on our team or staff, which would have to be me.
There you go.
So I would volunteer myself, but
There we
Coach
go.
Hype's the boss. If he feels the need to be first, he can be first. Or you know what, Gabriel Davis maybe can give a little bit back. He can go in there. It don't matter.
I mean, you want to talk about a game day experience? You got to go down there to the bounce house, go hop in the lazy river, float around.
Yeah,
that's gonna be something when that's done.
I'm curious to see what the insurance premiums on that are going to be.
Yeah. No,
you three look like you may be in there first.
Hey, I'll be right there. We gotta get in there.
I got to go to the bounce house for the first time this year. Austin took me down there once. So that was pretty cool. It really reminds me of Hawaii's the Honolulu stadium, where it's all steel construction. So when you jump, you just feel the whole thing just going with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard it's incredible. I've never been to a game. I'm excited for whatever that September 4th or 5th is going to be.
North Carolina, it's a big game. I'm excited.
Huge game.
Now, Austin, we talked about this, quite a bit this year, and like I said, you're just starting, so obviously it's going to be real hard for you to answer this, but what's it going to take to get a major game between one of the Power 5 conferences and UCF? Because right now it doesn't seem like Alabama, Auburn, any of those really want to schedule. I mean, Florida doesn't even get on the schedule, and they're just right up the road.
Yeah.
Over my head, that's
it's hard,
I would tell you, at least going back to my experience, the last two places I was at, Iowa State and Illinois, and obviously we're not talking about Alabama or whoever else you had mentioned, Auburn or Florida. I wouldn't want to play UCF. To be honest with you, I saw a stat today that was tweeted by UCF where the number of ranked teams that finished the year out in this conference. I mean, this conference, top to bottom, you can argue it, I'm sure, 10 different ways, depends who you're on with. But man, is there a better conference, top to bottom, and the parity in this conference? I mean, you win this league, there's something to be said about it now. And so, the 4 ranked teams out of the top 25, third most out of any Power 5 conference. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. I don't know that you would want to play most teams in this conference, to be honest with you right now.
Yeah. We're getting better. It looks good.
That's kind of the thing. It wasn't so much like, specific, what are you going to do to get this? It's one of those, if you thought that's why, it's just because I've always been like with some of the ones with like Hawaii, there's so much downside to a school picking them, because if you lose to them, that's going to kill you in the rankings.
Yeah.
And so, because we've talked about it on the program several times, it's just, what do we do about teams like in these big teams, scheduling these cream puff teams, St. Mary's of, you've got, they're playing these ones, they're playing Coffee Tech, and they're just destroying them, and as a product, as a fan, you're like, oh, this is that bad week, but there's no good games.
Sure. No, I don't know. I'm real careful to say big schools at times. Like I said, I just spent 4 years at Iowa State, and real careful to say big schools, because it depends who you ask. Where, like I said, the parity is so crazy anymore. We had just played Texas and won that game. We beat Oklahoma 2 years ago at Oklahoma, and I'm not giving you my resume. I'm just telling you, I think that whole big school thought, I guess I could say, you could maybe say historically, blue blood maybe ish, but I hesitate to say that, because like I said, I watched it just like you guys did when UCF went and played Auburn and UCF went and played LSU. I don't think those are considered upsets anymore. In my mind, and this isn't a recruiting spiel, would you consider UCF a big school? And if you're saying conferences or not, I think anybody in the top 25 right now would be considered a big school, and the parity has just become so great in the whole country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. On our watch party over in the UCF group, I want to ask. I mean, you said you're not recruiting yet, but do you think you're gonna push more towards offensive side, like offensive line, or more towards Oh, you think you can't tell us, right?
No, I can, and I've been recruiting since the day I got here. I just haven't been on the road yet.
Gotcha.
The dead period ends tomorrow, so we're allowed to go back out on Friday. No, we do a lot of things here by area, so you kind of master your area. Like I said, most of my background has been in junior colleges. As we've talked through it, I think we group recruit a lot here. I've always thought on offense and on defense, your top guys you're recruiting as a whole staff. I think it's super important for the coordinators to be involved. I think it's super important for the head coach to be involved. But here we kind of started by area because there is so much talent between Florida and Georgia. It'd be hard to just be all over the place as a position coach. And then like I said, I think the coordinator's got to be heavily involved and the head coach has got to be heavily involved. But I'm going to recruit, honestly, this Orlando area over to the Space Coast and then kind of head up our junior college recruiting and obviously kind of oversee the offensive recruiting as we go.
Nice. No, that's cool. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I've become more of a UCF, fan as I've been down here. I've coming from where I was at. I was never Florida State, Florida. I was never in those things. I know Chris is a Florida State fan, so he's diehard Florida State.
Chris is up here.
He's
the one.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Florida State fan. I mean, growing up, UCF really wasn't a big school to me. I mean, I grew up in Orlando. This is my hometown. But now, over the last couple of years, I started following UCF. But I'm always be a Florida State fan.
We blame him for the 3 losses this year because he joined the bandwagon and then we lost. So we blamed him for this season. We had a good season, but all the losses are his fault.
Well, I'm not here to blame anybody on anything, but I know you've had a rough go here too lately. So
there we go. All right.
I know, starting quarterback and coach all gone in one shot. It's like pow. Yeah, so that's Hawaii will rebuild. We will rebuild.
No, I'm excited. I really am.
I know. I want to see Hawaii UCF. I mean, if you can talk to the AD and coach and make this happen, so I can see the Warriors play.
As long as they come here. Yep. That's a long flight, brother.
No, trust me, it is. It is a long flight.
Yeah, especially down here in Florida.
Yeah, so, if I can make one request from you, sir, is talk to those two and make the Hawaii game happen, please.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can get some equity before I start scheduling games.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my one request out of the whole thing. It's been great. Like I said, I know there's a couple people that are just like, come on, he's got to have some breaking news he can throw our way. I'm like, but like I said, I don't want to get him in trouble. We're not TMZ. Yeah. We're not trying.
We're just a small podcast, man. Trying to help everybody out.
I got no breaking news, man. I got nothing really crazy, groundbreaking.
No,
I'm excited to get to work. I'm excited to get on the road, and more than anything, I'm really, really excited to get to work with our guys here when we start spring ball. We're 6 weeks away, and I've got a lot to kind of grip here and continue to learn and get on the field with these guys. I'm really excited. I've been warned by a lot of people about sunscreen.
Yeah, you're gonna need it.
You'll need it.
As you can tell, I'm a little bit more fair-skinned than some, but I'll take it over snow.
Yeah, it's gonna be something to get used to. It really does. You get down here and all of a sudden you're just like normal. It's like, man, why does my neck hurt? And you're short. Yeah, no, it's just want to thank you again, sir. It's been an honor having you on here. I mean,
thank you so much.
It's one of those things. If you just pass the word on that we're mild mannered and we're not going to bite.
I appreciate y'all having me on, man. Sounds like you guys have a blast. So
yeah. And one of these games, like I said, if we're there, I mean, if you don't mind, it's like we'd love to actually personally meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. I look forward to it. I appreciate it, guys. Charge up.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, we're rooting you on, man. Go Knights.
Thank you so much.
Right,
appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, sir. That was Alex. Awesome. Well, nice job, sir.
I'm getting there, man. I'm doing my job. I'm getting recruiting. I'm a recruiter for this podcast, just like him.
I like it. No, that was good.
Gold and black. Go Knights.
I love it, man.
Yeah, that was. Like I said, got like send him the best for his family. The uncomplicated move. Hopefully, get their place sold pretty quick. But
yeah.
No, I mean it's nice. It sounds like he's really excited about this upcoming season. So I mean, it's would it have been nice to get that little tidbit like, oh yeah, we're focusing on it. Of course. I don't blame him. I mean, you're just starting out, and the last thing you want to do is like really
drop the bomb.
You had to let the Bulls know that we were going. We're going in their backyard trying to get that player. Really, you had to let them know.
I mean, like he's up in Iowa. He has the big boys and stuff, but he said he came down here to Florida to recruit. So maybe he's probably one of his thoughts was, I'm just gonna join the Florida crew and just stay there instead of trying to recruit from them. I'm just gonna bring them to me. Might as well. So that's awesome, man. I'm glad we got a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's one of those things like if we get a chance to go to another game. It's like that'd be awesome. See him on the sidelines, like after the game or like prior during warm-ups. Call him over.
Oh, yeah.
It's like and then of course if we can, maybe get him a bottle of Bratz beard.
Bratz beard care.
Get him a little care package. We'll talk to Kelly and get a prop care for him.
Florida, try this on that beard, sir.
Yeah. He's going to need it, especially being, 10 winners up in the north. So he's going to need it, especially coming down here.
It's just the humidity and stuff. It'll just kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Bratz Beard Care. Go to bratzbeardcare.com. Use the code 3beards with a capital B. Get 20% off all your orders. So it's just use that stuff. We all use it. We all love it. Our beards look fantastic. The wives love it.
We meet people all the time that use Bratz Beard Care. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to be like, hey, you should try this. I already use them.
I already use them. You're like,
it's great.
I think he has currently, I might be wrong, I think it's 12 blends. I think is what he has on the website.
I know his brother helps him out at the Orlando Flea Market.
Flavors.
Yeah.
He's at the Orlando Flea Market a lot. He's online. He's at Winter Garden a lot. I think he's going to be at Indy Farmers Market in DeLand this weekend. So check him out on his Instagram. He's always posting where he's going to be and his brother. So always check him out there.
Nanny Cakes, Nancy Burke had a cake there on Sunday. That was a great cake.
It's so good.
Little guy's birthday party. That was great getting to meet her again, and talk with her and try that cake. Fantastic. I can't wait for my son's birthday cake that she's going to be making.
Yep.
So
she makes wedding cakes, birthday cakes, cupcakes, everything you can think of. Sports cakes. I know my birthday is a couple months away, but I'm making her make a UCF cake.
She's going to make you a Gators cake.
I'm going to burn it. I'll eat it, but then
That's
I'm going
to
be upset.
Especially in Central, like I said, especially if it's real easy to get a hold of her. Real easy to get the cake, seeing she's here in the Central Florida area. But just, like me, I just found a picture. Chris gave me the idea on what to do. I'm not saying it because it's a surprise for my sons, but he gave me an idea. I looked up a picture. I gave it to Nancy, and she's like, "Yeah, I can do that."
Yeah,
and that's.
Man, she's everything.
And that's. So we'll post that. Yeah, Keith, hello to you, sir.
Keith? Yeah, man, just call her up, ask her. Every day she's learning new stuff too. So if you I always tell her for my birthday, do something you haven't done before, so you have the experience. So always check her out, man. Facebook is Nanny Cakes Nancy Burke. Instagram nancy.b.burke. 407-923-2898. I'm slacking a lot. I will be posting on our Instagram and our Facebook of our cakes recently. So please check her out. And on Bratz Beard Care too, man. They're great sponsors.
Go to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Like you said, you just talking about for us. Yeah, we have our site, 3beardspodcast.com. Go there, like, share, follow on everything.
Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Siri.
Anybody that's a UCF fan, share this to your group. Let them. We just talked to the offensive coordinator. One of the co-offensive coordinators.
Hey, we got a big watch party over there, so I'm gonna see what everybody's doing. So thank you all for watching, everybody.
Share
awesome.
that out. Get that out to the rest of the UCF nation, and just get it out there so people can hear them. It was great. Unfortunately, like I said, we didn't have any ESPN breaking news, type thing that came across, but we got to actually talk to the guy. He's brand new to the program. He's just getting up and running. Head recruiting. It's just. This one it was a great interview. I had a lot of fun talking with him. So I look forward to actually getting to meet him personally. Hopefully this becomes something where we actually have, a consistent friendship to where we're, we can have him on multiple times throughout the his time here at UCF.
Always stay posted, man, because like you see, I'm always trying to get new people. We're trying to get Jordan Davis. He had a technical issue. We'll get him on very soon. I'm always messaging players, coaches to get them on. So just stay tuned, man, and we'll get somebody on there. Always.
But gentlemen, great job. Like I said, nice job again.
Nice job.
Yep, and as always, like I said we're trying to get just a little heads up. Where Sunday, I'm not sure yet if we have anybody scheduled just yet. Maybe Jordan Davis for Sunday.
Yeah, maybe even Smash Brown again. Talk about the fight. So I'll keep you updated though.
Kind of follow it. Come on, McGregor.
No, it's just Mr. Cowboy's gonna win this.
Cowboy.
No, I'm alone. Follower of the Irish, man. So all right. We'll talk about that on Sunday, gentlemen.
Good night.
As always,
Charge on.
Good night.
Charge on, baby.